He's on Skype. Good to see you, sir. What is the latest?
Good to see you too.
What's the latest out of Pennsylvania in that fight?
Well, I think the case in Pennsylvania gets bigger and bigger every day. Originally, it began with just Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And although that would have been pretty substantial, we have about at least 350,000 votes, mail-in votes that were counted, and Republicans were deliberately excluded from the process of examining those votes. So as far as we know, those votes could be fraudulent. They could be duplicates. They could be votes casted by members of the Democratic machine. After all, remember, we're in Philadelphia, which has a history of voter fraud that's legendary. I mean, the former heavyweight champion Joe Frazier votes here for 5 or 6 years after he was dead. Will Smith's grandparents have been voting here for 4 years in a row. I mean, this is a state where, particularly Philadelphia, is a place where vote fraud is a profession.
Was there a criminal act committed when they didn't let these vote watchers in? And when they even had a legal order, they had a court order, and they still didn't let them get within 6 feet. What's the punishment for that? What happens with this?
Punishment for that would be contempt of court.
Yeah.
But the real question is, why did they go that far if they weren't cheating? And also, then, you know, the margin they had to make up. We have experts, and experts can fight about this, but the president was ahead by 800,000 votes on Tuesday night, and Biden would have to have gotten almost every vote. Also, very, very suspiciously, at some point on Thursday, there was 94% of the vote counted, and then all of a sudden, an hour later, it appears that only 90% of the vote is counted. So the denominator mysteriously reduced. So just a little bit of knowledge of math would tell you they added 4% more votes.
Yeah, they did come back from it. It was a tremendous margin. It looked like Pennsylvania was totally in the bag. I had it about 675,000 votes on election night.
They changed the percentage of votes, which means they brought in votes.
That's,
well,
I mean, it's a big.
We have 50 witnesses in Philadelphia that can say they were uniformly barred from observing. Even though they're required to have a Republican observer, they were uniformly barred from doing it in every way possible, including after court order. We're now developing similar facts in Pittsburgh, where we have upwards of 300,000 votes, where a similar lockout was done. And it appears as if this was a plan.
And I mean, honestly, the truth is that we don't know what happened in Pennsylvania, but the fact that they're keeping people out really looks bad. This is the mayor of Philadelphia earlier today. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this.
You know, I think what the president needs to do is, frankly, put his big boy pants on. He needs to acknowledge the fact that he lost, and he needs to congratulate the winner, just as Jimmy Carter did, just as George H.W. Bush did, and frankly, just as Al Gore did. And stop this and let us move forward as a country.
And actually, even worse, that was not from today. That was from yesterday, when it was even more in contention and there was even more votes to be counted yet. What's your reaction to making that statement when they're still counting and a race this close?
Well, I mean, if we go by Al Gore, we got 2 more months, right? I don't know if he has as bad a memory as Joe Biden, but if the reality is we got about 2 more months to go, Mayor. So thank you. We're not going to take 2 more months. We'll get this resolved faster than that. And the reality is, why do you run a city that has so much crime and is so darn corrupt? Your party's been in control of it for 60 years, and you just about lead the country in murder, and you also lead the country in voter fraud.
What do you think about this story about?
You know how many cases of voter fraud there have been in Philadelphia? Look, there's no doubt.
I've read them.
There's no doubt that you don't exclude for 21 hours 50 Republican inspectors. 50.
Can I ask about the Erie? I want to ask about the Erie, Pennsylvania story, Mr. Mayor, if I could. This story coming out of Erie, Pennsylvania, this postal worker that says that they were backdating these ballots that should have been made illegal. They weren't legitimate. They were too late. Backdating the ballots. What do you make of that? It looks like the Senate is going to actually look into this.
Well, I would say that that's part of the whole Pennsylvania fraud machine. We've got Erie County. We've got Allegheny County, we've got Pittsburgh, we've got Philadelphia, Montgomery County. We've got all kinds of irregularities. We also have a number of dead people so far that have voted, not just the 2 celebrities that I mentioned. But the main core complaint right now is that it looks like we have about 550,000 ballots that were entered to bring that down that 800,000 margin, and nobody got to look at them. And that is in and of itself against the law, and it would disqualify those ballots. It doesn't matter who they voted for. We can't tell anymore who they voted for. All we can tell is that we were deprived of our right to observe those ballots. And this is exactly what President Trump has been saying from the beginning, that this whole mail-in thing, which is all new, was really part of a plan by the Democrats to cheat. Similar things happened in Georgia, in Michigan, in Las Vegas. Exactly the same thing. People excluded from seeing these ballots because this was their secret surprise.
Yeah. It's a major allegation. Obviously, it's a very interesting story because you keep seeing these little flares of evidence here and there, and people want to know what exactly happened, and we just don't know yet. But the fact that they were trying to keep people from ballot observing really, really looks bad. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. It's great to see you.